Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Chris back with another detailed discussion from the website. If you haven't visited the site, the article is in the description. You can click through and read it. This is not going to be an easy conversation. It's not going to be gentle. It's going to be a very difficult conversation to get into because it deals with race and sneakers and basketball. And anytime you have that combination of things, it becomes a very complex discussion to have because people get emotional. What I want people to do when they're listening to this is not be emotional because it's going to be a long video. It might as well be a podcast because it's going to vacillate between two different discussions. And that is, it needs to be rooted in this. So let me start here. Signature sneakers, when you begin digging into the numbers, they don't sell very well. They're a difficult sell, but at the root of everything that we're discussing, I'll jump into this article on Angel Reese signing with Reebok in an NIL deal. But I have to start with the original article that I wrote, which was why are black women hoopers failing to get signature basketball sneakers, especially when you think about the beginning of signature kicks with Cheryl Swoops and all of those women from the Olympics team, the women's dream team that ended up on Martin. If you look at the TV show Martin, they played against Martin when he was wearing the Air Gordons. I think he was wearing the Air Gordons, but it was a great, moment for women's basketball. And Cheryl Swoops had a sneaker and Dawn Staley had a sneaker. Everybody was getting these sneakers. And I think even Nikki McCrae had a shoe with Fila. I have to double check that to be certain. I have it on the website here, and you can go and search for it. But I don't want to get off track. This is the introduction. I'm getting into this discussion. This is all based on my own research and my thoughts. Please, if you have something to add to it, leave it in the comments. And also create your own discussions, man, so I can watch what you are thinking about this matter. So remember, I'm looking at this from a data research and analysis standpoint. And it's going to be a lot of numbers here. Let's roll. In a post like this that you see next to me, which can be seen as divisive and confrontational by those who don't like difficult dialogue, it's important to get directly to the discussion instead of building like a writing prompt. Like typically what I'll do is I'll challenge people with questions. I don't want to do that here. I want to move you towards your own examination. Now, here are some facts. Both the NBA and WNBA share similar statistics according to the site Statista. The NBA is 71.8% black and 17.4% white. The WNBA is 70% black and 18.9% white. The NBA has an abundance of signature sneakers, with the majority of the athletes being black, with only Luka as the sole European with the signature sneaker, unless we go into Austin Reeves getting a deal with, I can't even remember the name of the brand, or we look at, I was going to say Jimmer Fredette, but he's over in China, so never mind. Luka is the only one, right, with the signature under the major sneaker companies. Now, are there deserving white athletes who should have signature sneakers in the NBA? I mean, the Joker, possibly, but big men don't sell kicks, right? Big men, they don't sell kicks. But think about this. The All-Stars in 2023, the other two European or white players were Lauri Markkanen and Domantas Sabonis. Now, like I said earlier, maybe in a few years, Austin Reeves could get a signature, which he does have a signature now, but I can't even remember the name of it. But Lauri Markkanen and Domantas Sabonis are not getting signature sneakers, right? That's not likely. Now, when you compare the signature sneaker count in the NBA to the one in the WNBA, the NBA makes sense by the numbers. There are more black athletes in the league and more black athletes who are all-stars, right? Now, when you compare the WNBA, the numbers breakdowns are similar to the NBA, right? But the signature sneakers are the same. It's just not the same. So both the WNBA and the NBA have 4 white players out of 24 players who were all-stars. So if you look at the 2023, all-star rosters for both the WNBA and the NBA, 4 out of 24 are white, right? If you take Candace Parker from the equation of signature basketball sneakers in the WNBA, the signatures in women's basketball are exclusively white players. Candace Parker is, let's think about her. She's aligned with the Ace basketball shoe for Adidas. But Adidas also has a soccer shoe named Ace. That's why it's hard for me to say, the Candace Parker is a signature shoe. The Ace is a signature shoe. Because if she retires all of a sudden, she can be conveniently disassociated with the name Ace for Adidas, and it'll be a soccer boot only. Although Candace's nickname is Ace. But this is not the case with her white counterparts who have signature sneakers. Breanna Stewart has the Puma Stewie. Sabrina Ionescu has the Nike Sabrina. Elena Deldon has the Nike Air Deldon. If we go back in the past and we think about that distribution of sneakers in the WNBA, it was very similar to the NBA with Rebecca Lobo as the Luca in the bunch from the 90s. So Rebecca Lobo had, I think it was a Reebok. So the numbers obviously are not the same anymore. Is it critical for signature sneakers to coincide with the racial breakdown of the WNBA? Of course not. Talent and popularity are obvious reasons for why an athlete gets a signature sneaker, which makes Breanna Stewart and Elena Deldon natural choices for signature because they are both 2-time MVPs. Sabrina hasn't won MVPs. She is, however, one of the most famous collegiate players in history, and by the numbers, she is more popular than her signature peers. Notice I said signature peers. So if we look at Breanna Stewart's IG, she has 304,000 followers. Elena Deldon has 462,000 followers. Sabrina has 814,000 followers. So of the signature sneaker people, Sabrina is the one with the most followers. But this is what's really interesting about this discussion. Remember Maya Moore? Maya Moore was once the most famous player in the WNBA, winning multiple championships and all-star MVPs, and she never had a signature sneaker. She did have player exclusives and Jordans that came out. Now, Maya's success can be compared to A'ja Wilson, who has 704,000 followers on IG. This means that A'ja has more followers than Breanna and Elena. Nike Jordan brand never gave Maya a signature sneaker, and they haven't given A'ja a signature, although she has the major accomplishment of being a multiple MVP winner and is one of the few players in the league to win the defensive player in the year in the same year as the MVP, and now she's a back-to-back WNBA champion. And she has more followers than Breanna and Elena. Now, there are fewer teams and athletes in the WNBA, and this means that the signature sneaker count will probably never be as high as the NBA, and that's understandable. Maybe me writing and talking about this is looking for a problem where there isn't one. Maybe. So let's think about it. Under Armour signed a host of women to their company. They only have 2 signature athletes in basketball with Steph and Embiid. And as we know, Embiid is possibly going to sign with Skechers, which is a completely different discussion, and I need to do a video on that. Adidas may be the brand who needs to make a move since Candace Parker is nearing the end of an amazing career, just got another championship even though she was injured. And they don't have anyone as a replacement, although they did pull Aaliyah Boston away from Under Armour. Under Armour College, Aaliyah Boston goes to Adidas. She's probably going to be the replacement. And maybe we see a Boston. But remember, Adidas has a Boston sneaker already. It's a running shoe. As viewership and interest in the WNBA is growing, Adidas could find itself missing a vital aspect in marketing for hoops. Nike is the culprit here. And we have to consider them the culprit. The brand on 2 occasions overlooked black women athletes that they have signed in the WNBA to give white women athletes signature sneakers. The Deldon is performing poorly and is discounted on the Nike site to $42. Puma has to be questioned. Because think about this. Skylar Diggins was the first to lead the charge in Puma re-entering basketball. Skylar Diggins was. And she has 1 million followers, more than all of the other players I just mentioned about their IGs. But no signature sneaker. WNBA champion. Awesome player. Looks the part. Now, this is the thing. New Balance, when we're thinking about all these brands, isn't really moving towards that WNBA in a major way. So New Balance hasn't done anything necessarily. Yes, they have. They recently did what? They added an NIL, and I'm going to talk about that in this Angel Reese part of the video. So like I said, this is long. Just stay with me. If this is interesting, please stick it out and just keep listening. When we think about New Balance, we have to ask the question, what race is the person that they gave an NIL to? So we have our 3 signature sneaker people, and we have New Balance entering women's hoops, and here is their first NIL sign. All right. Ultimately, the question of why black women aren't getting signature sneakers may have to do with the racial breakdown inside of sneaker companies. In this segment of the video, I'm placing the onus there. There's long been a discussion on diversity at sneaker brands. Now, and this is why I do the videos that I do, because I'm trying to get people to be smarter. I love talking about sneakerhead stuff. I love talking about taking L's. I can talk about that stuff all day, but that does nothing to help diversify the sneaker industry and the jobs that are there. If there aren't black voices inside of the companies advocating for athletes, then athletes being overlooked will continue. We need to look at the brands when it comes to this. Think about this. Serena Williams has a design team at Nike. But Serena Williams does not have a signature sneaker with her name as the title. Now, over the last decade, the black women athletes signed to Nike, and I'm going immediately to the biggest brand since we have 2 athletes that are with Nike with signature sneakers who are both white women. I'm going straight to Nike here. These black women athletes signed to Nike have been amazing, but they were never considered for signature sneakers. While mediocre by comparison, male athletes have been given sneakers. And what I mean by that is Paul George hasn't won anything. He shouldn't have a signature. Devin Booker shouldn't have a signature. John Morant should. I'm not going to hate on that. But Russell Westbrook should not have a signature sneaker. And I know these are difficult things to say, or no, they're not. No, they're not. All 3 of those guys haven't won championships. Now, am I saying that people need to win championships? Luka hasn't won a championship. Jason Tatum hasn't won a championship. Do you wait to give someone a signature sneaker? That's not what I'm saying. When I look at it and I say mediocre by comparison, that's not saying Paul George is trash. He's not. He's extremely talented. Even though he went to Fresno State and I went to San Diego State and we don't like them. Now, that's getting off subject. He's extremely talented. But he's not Maya Moore. By comparison. He's not Asia. By comparison. But he has a signature sneaker. If we go through the Adidas roster of athletes, Ice Tray doesn't need a sneaker. Dame, yeah, maybe. Spider Mitchell, yeah, I don't know. You have to kind of look at this stuff and say, man, by comparison, these amazing women athletes don't have signatures. Think about this one. Allison Felix has won more Olympic medals in track and field than any other American athlete. And she has had to found her own sneaker company. Nike underpaid her, cut her check because she got pregnant. She left Nike, the greatest Olympic athlete, track and field athlete ever. Left Nike and created her own company, Sage. Now let's go over to Puma and think about this. Puma had Usain Bolt for years. Now this is deviating from women. He was their most prominent athlete. No signature. I bring him up because he's black. But that's not basketball, so let's finish with basketball. Under Armour sponsors the best women's basketball program in college hoops for the last 5 years in South Carolina, with multiple draft picks in the WNBA, and none of those players were considered good enough for a big deal with Under Armour, or they lost those players. I'm talking to Leah Boston here, I'm talking to Asia Wilson, all of these players that come out of South Carolina. Under Armour needs to make waves. They need to sign people. Now they have, and I'm going to get into that in the next part of this. Maybe I'll split it up and I'll do a part 2 to this. And that way the video, I don't have to make it so long because it's hard for you to stay the whole time and be engaged. And I want you to be engaged. But right now, for this post, as a matter of fact, I'm going to end it here and I'm going to stop this video. In this post, if you're looking for a reason why black women in the WNBA are overlooked, look at the brands. Look at the brands, look at the people who are inside those brands, and realize that more than likely there are not enough black people advocating for these women athletes who are doing incredible work. I'm going to stop it there. And I'm going to film the next part of this and put it up. It won't be named part 2, but it'll be back to back so you don't have to watch a super long video. I appreciate you for watching. If you like this type of content, of course, like, share, subscribe, and leave questions. Ask me. What do I think? Ask specific questions because I really do get very specific in the next video. Let's go to that. Peace.